gotten into like a proper relationship with my current boyfriend, and I said to him, like, you know, when we were dating, like I was seeing heaps of other guys, and he was like, what? He was so shocked. He was like, I thought you were only seeing me. And I'm like, I'm sick of this narrative that like girls, we just hold out for a guy, because I'd been fucked around by too many fuckboys. I'm like, I am not sitting around on my ass like
putting all my eggs in one basket.
Yeah, because half the time it's like they have sex with you and then they text you in 2 weeks' time. It's like, dude, that's cool. Like, you're good in bed. I'll have sex with you again. But just so you know, in those 2 weeks, I'm fucking other dudes.
Right. Absolutely.
And it, like, if you don't realize that, like, you're a freaking idiot. Yeah. Like, how do you not realize that? Like,
not everybody
I don't catch.
does.
Other people want to fuck me, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
come on.
I mean, like, this isn't fucking, but like a while back, there was this one guy pursuing me persistently, and then he just happened. He's not even from here, and he happened to be in LA one day, and he was like, "Let's hang out today." And I already had plans with another guy that I had just met on DM, like to go on a date. And I was like, okay, well, you know, this guy he's not here very often. So I do want to see, you know, we'll take this date. But then the other guy, I had been trying to coordinate with him for like weeks at this point, and we had this date scheduled. So I'm like, I don't want to cancel him either. So I told the first guy, I'm like, okay, well, you could come at 7. I have like a little birthday party to go to at 10, so whatever. So we did our date from 7 to 10. It bled a little into 10:30 because he didn't want to fucking leave. And then I promptly left him and drove my ass over to my next date and had another fucking amazing date, and I drank for free all night long, and it was lit. And I really connected with both guys too. And like, I got home and I was so proud of myself, and not on no, oh, I showed them or none of that shit, but it's like, I'm a woman. I need to have options. I need to see what's out there. And like, I was really proud of myself for just getting out there and trying. And like, I'm not hurting nobody. This is everyone's first date. No one's obligated to anybody. Maybe you went and had another date after me too, and that's okay. But like, you know, we get shamed for all these crazy, the literal exact things that men are doing. And it's like, I don't know if it makes you think that like, because I have sex, like you think that when I get in a relationship, I'm also going to be a whore. Like I want to be in a relationship and I want to fucking worship the ground they walk on and only fuck them. And when I'm not in a relationship, I want to fuck who the fuck I want to fuck.
But it's that whole thing of like men thinking we can only be the Madonna or the whore. It's like, it's not so black and white. And that happens with a lot of women after they have kids. You know, guys will be like, oh, that's when I started cheating on her, or that's when I saw an escort because I could only see her as the mother of my children. It's like, she can be the mother of your children and an amazing mother,
being.
And she can be a fucking freak in the sheets. So it's like, just like allowing like people to see that women can be all of these things. You know, we can be sexual beings as well as we can be mothers and caregivers and businesswomen and whatever
literally
else.
Whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Like, obviously you've been in this relationship for 2 years, but prior to that and in your dating phase, did you find that because you're, you know, like you said yourself, like the TMI queen, like has that affected anybody else aside from this really secure, awesome man that you're with? Like, has
to
it
be
fucked you
honest,
up?
I think because I was with like a lot of fuckboys who were like really good looking guys. Like, these were guys that took their clothes off and you're like, damn. But they didn't necessarily there wasn't a really lot of intellectual conversation, if any at all. There wasn't really a lot of brain cells going on. So they weren't really going and reading up on my articles. Okay. However, what was funny is after I had my hoe phase and I went on to write about it, I did actually have some ex-fuckboys contact me and go, you know, because I did the same as you. I just used all these like pseudonym names for guys when I would refer to them. I would refer to them as like, one guy lived out in the country, and so I was like the country boy or whatever. And yeah, so he had a couple of guys actually had read the column and recognized themselves in the column.
Of course.
And I had like been really honest in the column, and I was talking about this one particular guy, how he was only good for his dick. I said that he was so lucky that he had such an amazing cock because his
brain, he's an idiot.
Not just him being an idiot, but he was shit in bed. He just laid there like a starfish. But he had such a good dick that like I could still make it work, right? And like I just had to be on top.
So somebody else, so you do know how to ride. We need some pointers.
Yeah. Can you teach us?
But I had said like he's shit in bed, but luckily he's got a good dick, so you can still do something with it. And I'd kind of jokingly talked about that, and he got really irate. This was months and months on. I'd been in a long-term relationship by that point, but he had contacted me, obviously still had my number, and he was like, a couple of girls, because, you know, my columns are quite popular with women over in Australia. And he's like, a couple of girls I know, probably girls that he was probably hoping to try it on with. He's like, they recognize me in your column. And he got really pissed off and he's like, you're an awful person and your daddy doesn't love you.
No, I've literally had the guy that I was just talking about that I kissed not willingly with the ass breath.
That I kissed not willingly with the ass breath. All right.
The Joe Budden podcast started up about 2-3 months after that incident. And he was actually a topic that I spoke on pretty frequently because he was someone that I actually ended up really caring for, and like it was a thing. And same thing. He hit me one time like, yo, a couple girls hit me and said that you're talking about me on the show. Like, obviously it's about me. Like, everyone knows because you described me exactly and this, that, and the third. And da-da-da-da-da. And we fell out for like months. And then like, because I was still trying to figure out how to make it work before that. And we were already like in a bad place. So that just totally like all the way down.
Yeah.
And then we got back in contact a few months later, but he'd already gotten a bitch pregnant and it was just over from that point.
For me, it's just a whole sign of like the fragile masculinity, right? It's like, this is exactly what I thought this guy was all along. It's like, you're threatened because like I said you're bad in bed and some other girls that you were going to try to fuck have now read this. Like, you know, your masculinity is clearly very fragile.
Exactly. So. And the same with him. I'm like, honestly, I'm actually saying decent shit. Like, I'm just saying like, I really like this guy or whatever, but I had said how he ate my pussy and he was like, you know, I don't eat like no bitch's pussy really, and now they're all on me mad that I'm not eating their pussy. I'm like, that's your problem. Shit ain't my problem. Like, I didn't ask you to eat my shit. You just fucking ate it, and it was great. So
what is the thing with like I've noticed like so I was single for a long time, and then I had a whole bunch of serious boyfriends. Then I was married for a long time.
Oh, wow.
That's fire.
Yeah, so that was basically
it.
how I had my big hoe phase because I split from my husband and I just had like this whole sexual awakening, and then that was how I got into all the sex positive stuff because it was so empowering for me. But long story short, when I was initially single before I got married, like when I would have sexual encounters with guys, going down on me wasn't like a big thing. When I was single again after I split from my husband, oh my God, like every guy that I was with straight away wanted to go down on me. Like, do you guys have that here? Is that a thing? Like, I was like, wow, they're obsessed with eating pussy. Like,
it depends.
What has happened?
I feel like it depends. Like, I find the guys that are like super into me are obsessed with like immediately got to eat my pussy. The ones that are just like my flings were not really like immediately like that's their thing or whatever. But I mean, I personally don't even like it.
I love it.
I
love it when it's good.
Yeah, when it's good. When it's bad, it is terrible.
I like the power dynamics of it. Like, because I'm very submissive in bed and I'm very submissive in a relationship, period. Especially because I'm such a boss in my everyday life. Like, I just want you to be my king and whatever you say, go. I mean, like, I'm still headstrong in a sense where you can't just tell me what to do.
Yeah.
But I want you to be empowered to lead me. Yeah. So in bed though, when it's a little power switch, when you're in between my legs, like it is a little exciting. Like, look at this boss ass motherfucker, like right here in between my legs.
For me, it's like, oh my God, he wants to do this so badly because he is determined to make me come before we have sex. Like, that is so hot. It's not like I'm in control and he's doing that. It's like, wow, he really wants to do this.
I always feel bad for them when they're down there for a long time though. Like, can they really get enough air? Do you know what I mean? Like, because like when you're
sucking dick, your whole dick is in my
mouth. When you're sucking dick, like you still have your nose free.
Except when you have a stuffy nose. Have you ever sucked dick with a stuffy nose?
Yes.
Very difficult.
Have you ever sucked dick and mucus starts coming out of your nose?
Oh my God.
And it starts like bubbling and you're like, and you're trying to sniffle while you're trying to suck the
start
dick.
working it in as lube, you know?
Oh my God.
But yeah, I've just noticed like there seems to be more like, and I like confused it at first. Like the first couple of times I like had a one night stand with a guy and they would go down on me, I'd be like, oh wow, they must be really into me. And then I realized no, they weren't.
Yeah.
And every guy was just going down on me. It was like, and I was talking to my girlfriends. I'm like, do guys do this when you just have a one night stand? They're like, oh yeah, or every guy I sleep with, they all go down on me. I'm like,
it really depends.
When did this start becoming a trend?
Yeah.
It's weird because also I mean, I'm not saying like every guy that I've slept with, I've sucked their dick, but there are a lot of girls that I know that just don't suck dick.
I'm
Yes.
literally the opposite.
So,
I
like-
probably suck
so-
dick more than I fuck.
So,
Ditto.
which
Ditto.
I think is like crazy. Like I've talked to guys before. They're like, no, she didn't suck my dick. I'm like, what do you mean she didn't suck? Isn't that like part of having sex? And then in my head, I'm like, isn't also part of having sex eating a girl out? Like,
Yes.
I feel like it should be a double. But there are some girls that literally don't suck dick, and there's some guys that just do not ever eat pussy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's immature on both aspects if you don't do that.
And if you're disgusted by part of my body, do I really want to have sex with you? Like, why won't you put your mouth on a part of my body?
Exactly.
Like,
I'm not.
that is in and of itself a head job. But I mean, sorry, that is in and of itself a turn off. I've got head jobs on my mind. But I mean, some women do say they don't call it a job for nothing, right? I think that was like a line on Sex and the City or something. For me, I think I'm the same as you, Marisa. Like, I actually find I like to give head to my partner
I
as
love
foreplay. Like, it
giving
gets me
Yeah.
in the mood.
It
Like,
makes me
I
horny.
get
Yeah.
so turned on.
I've gotten really into it.
Yeah.
It's so fun. Especially when you're like, damn, I did that. Especially,
fun.
Yes.
especially when you start your day off as like a fucking whore. It feels great.
Yes, I love it.
I wake up in the morning and I go to work and I'm like, yeah, this morning I made my boyfriend nut all over my face. That's how I started my
Oh
day.
my
And
God,
it
I
feels
love it.
great.
I
it
love
does
it.
feel so good. And like,
Especially, I don't know why. It makes me like, especially in the morning, and then like you just get your day started and you're like, I did that.
yeah, it just also is easier too. It's less work than sex. Sometimes I'm just not in the mood to be moving all around and panting and sweating. And
Yep.
I could just suck a dick, make you come, you feel great. I'm happy that I made you come. That turned me on, hearing you turn on, and I'm gonna go about my day.
Yeah.
And everybody's
And
happy.
it's like a chat. Like, if you've ever been with, I feel like most women have been with a guy that's like, oh, I'm not really into head, or I don't come
Yes.
from head, and you're like,
Uh-huh.
challenge accepted.
Checkmate. Let me do this. Yeah, I've had a few of those guys, and I mean, like, out of let's just say the 5 as a number, like probably 1 or 2 actually really didn't like come off head, but like the other few have been like, yo, I've never came off head before, and I'm like, hello, you are welcome.
Yeah.
And one of those guys is actually the guy whose ass I ate on that earlier story from before I made out with the other guy. And then the other guy is still on my dick because my head is so good. He calls me still to this day
my
in
gosh.
2019.
Damn.
And that was 2014. I think that's why the guys stay around so much. I don't know, like my vagina is good. Like I know it's wet. I know it's tight, but like I could be honest with myself and say like I have my good and bad days in bed. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I'm kind of shitty. I don't throw it back that
You have
great.
times when you're lazy, right? And you don't
Yeah.
feel like putting on the whole show. You like, you
Yeah.
kind of just want to starfish it up and just let it
Really,
out to
it'd be
everything.
really great. Like I would like, it's really ideal, and that's why I end up just giving head sometimes because I'm like, I know I'm gonna give you some bad pussy, so I'm gonna just like try to just give you some head instead. Like, because there's been times where it's like, I'm just not in the mood, and then like I'm trying to throw it back, and because I'm not even focused, we're not catching the rhythm as an item together, like as a duo, and I'm here and he's there.
It's
and
a
we're
whole
just not
gymnastic experience.
connecting.
It's actually a
Yeah.
workout. See, this is the thing I noticed. Like when I got with my boy.